Ayes have it. New business?
Okay.
Okay, under new business, we had a request from CCAT. As everyone knows, they are taking over the PA Saving program, which is the
Victim
victim
notification.
notification. I got a mind block here, yeah. What they are requesting is for the 3 prior years of data from our system, and I guess it would be a pretty easy transfer of the data. If we would not be opposed to it, we would just have to sign and send something back, and then the company GTL that we utilize for our jailhouse management system will be able to transfer that data. And just, on the sheet, they're looking for first, middle, and last names, date of birth, booking numbers, social security numbers, etc. Just kind of like, release dates, custody status times, and all that stuff. So it would basically just be their information that currently sits in our database now that they're looking to have. That way they have some background on things as they move forward with this project.
Is there reason to believe they're entitled to it?
Well, I think what you're saying, they've actually taken over.
They've taken over
administration of the
administration of the PA7 program, so that was done, was that the DA's,
It was.
The
the
association.
association that did
Yes.
have it, but now CCAP is kind of taking this over,
And Tim had shared that with myself and with Jeannie, and we did go back to CCAP because there was some questions on it, and they have responded to our concerns that we had, and I think we're okay with that.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Okay, the train proposals for the rooftop units, we have 7 rooftop units, and there were 5 that, when the train did the last inspection, they said needed some updates. Dan got to review everything, and everything seems to be in order for that.
So is that, am I right, is that like the expense, the cost was like $23,000
Yes,
for 5 units, 6 units?
right,
Is that on state contract?
yes.
In the future, we're gonna have to look at those, scheduling, replacement, take out, maybe 1 or 2 a year over the next couple of years. Well, the 2 have already been replaced,
Correct.
so I don't know if we put it in the budget, it's in the budget.
Nothing was put in for next year, no.
No, instead of getting nailed with all 7 at one time,
Yeah,
and then having the same thing a couple of years from now, everything going at once, so maybe replacing 2 a year probably right now because of condition. And, some of the things on there in the maintenance are routine anyway, as far as the, heat exchangers, et cetera, that's major issues on a lot of those.
mhm.
The units have been up there for 25 years now, so, I think we should look at, replacing more periodically, and then at least pick out the worst 2 and have them replaced, maybe.
I agree with that. The other thing is, I think there is a cost. Don't you have to get like something to get them off the roof, and you have to rent?
Well, that's it,
Well,
that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know that are they actually looking to replace the whole units, or are they just looking to fix what's already there?
Well, yeah, on this agreement,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
looking at fixing what's there.
But yeah,
From what I understand, 2 were replaced already,
yeah,
so that's what I'm looking at.
Oh,
If
okay.
they're starting to go, the whole unit's going, then we better look at a long-term replacement plan. That's what I'm looking at.
yeah.
So what is the average life of one of these? Does anybody know? I think it's around, if it's like air conditioning is, about 25 years. Because these units, from what I'm
I'm seeing is they were put up there in 6, 7, and 8, or 3 of them. So, again, they're
6, 7, and 8.
2006,
6, 7,
2007, 2008, and then there are 2 newer ones.
And then 4 done in 2010.
2010, yeah, like
Yeah.
they're 9 or 10 years old, but the other ones that were like the 12, 13, and I was just wondering how long they last. But from what Wayne's saying, they should last a lot longer than their age right now, and
Mhm.
it would behoove us, when you look at the expenses, one of them's like 2,500, one of them's 6,000, you know, they
Yeah.
range, and that's what drives. But I think in reference what Bob's saying is when we get them up there, we wanna service the 5 of them, rather than go up there and get 2 and then
Yeah.
call them back next year, so we could keep them, functioning as long as we can, if they're gonna last 5 or 10 years more. They should be.
Yeah,
Right.
They didn't, if we're paying like 6,000 or something, or better, I didn't bring that sheet with, but, if we're paying so much for repairs on one, what does a new unit cost? If they're coming in to do heat exchangers and that,
Well, in 2010, we don't actually
17,
have-
16, 17,000, right?
yeah, Yep,
we're looking
the
at
one
almost-
overbooking in 2008 cost us 34,000. So that must be a lot bigger of a union, but I mean,
Yeah,
they've
but
ranged
no,
anywhere
no,
price
that was,
from.
there were 3 of them there, Tim.
Oh, were
Right?
there?
that was-
Oh, okay, those were those 3, that's right.
There was booking, kitchen, and
And the
there was one in
Max.
Max, I think,
Yeah.
right? So we
Yeah.
put 3 in at that
Okay.
time. That's why they were that high, but,
In
I think
2010,
that the average is like $16,000 to $17,000,
Yeah,
So
right?
you're looking at almost
Somewhere around there.
just about half the cost of you rent the crane and everything else and install it, so I'm just concerned with how long is it gonna last after you replace the heat exchanger
Right.
and big it
Mhm.
is, so.
Do we have anybody on staff that can examine this and maybe make a recommendation on how many should be replaced and how many should be refurbished or fixed?
nobody here.
Anybody
I
in
guess Mike can do that.
Maintenance or?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
No,
not unless we
I
had
don't
the
think so.
engineer come in to,
Have Mike do it, he'd have to do it.
Yeah.
'Cause I know what I'm saying, when you look at, 1,200, it's like, okay, let's fix it, you look
Yeah.
at 6,000,
15 repairs.
now you're looking at, 1/3 of
One
what
third
it
of the
costs.
cost, yeah.
So,
So, yeah, so the oldest one was 2006. And the cost to repair that is 7,200.
see, that's the one that you would zero in on,
That's
that's the oldest,
probably
and
right.
that's the most
Yeah.
expensive.
Right. Well, they're all, I'm gonna say 16 to 19,000 for a new one.
Mhm.
No,
But
I
that's the
mean, as
most
far as,
expensive in the
yeah,
quote,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the oldest one. Mhm.
But I agree, Bob, but unfortunately, I don't think we have anyone,
Mhm.
in the county in our maintenance department
No.
that would be qualified to look at it and give us a recommendation. Because if we knew we could take the 6,000 or 7,000 and repair it, we were gonna get 10 years out of it, that would be
Right.
the way to go, but
Yeah.
if we're gonna stick 6 or 7 in it and 2 years from now it's done, then we just wasted money.
Mhm.
You don't recall offhand what else was wrong with the units that were replaced? Was it more than just the heat exchanger at the time? Was it a combination of, several things being wrong with it? Do you recall?
That time, I don't even recall Wayne.
Okay. Unfortunately, with Charlie not being here anymore, to
Yeah.
be able to answer those questions.
See, I just don't know enough about it, but I can tell you this, what the quote is, for the one that's $7,200, he's talking about removing and replacing the heat exchanger, exhaust panel assembly, and hot surface igniter. And then reassemble the piping and electrical, so, I don't know what that means, I'm not skilled enough to know that.
Yeah, right.
But somebody ought to look at that and say, is it worth it to spend $7,000 at something that you can replace for 16?
Right.
Or are you wasting that 7?
Right,
If you're only gonna get a Band-Aid on it for a year or two.
Yeah, those are how prices are, how old, so it could be more like,
Mhm.
and I don't know, are they keeping a decent record of the issues on the equipment, maintenance file?
Yes,
They do have that?
yes.
Okay.
think in order to move this, I think we ought to just table it and have the engineer look it over and give us his opinion on whether the repair work in each of these is something that he thinks we should do or not do.
Yeah.
And that way we know, and we're relying on somebody that knows more than us.
Make
you
sure
know.
we have an answer before the prison board meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that these bids be tabled and turned over to review for his recommendation.
Second,
Question on it real quick, valid for, what, 45 days, if I'm reading this right? Or no, it's not, something else. How long is the price good for? Is that the one I have?
They're usually good
30
for
days.
30 days, yeah.
So, is it gonna go up to 30 days, that's what I'm questioning now, ask them before we do.
well, I think we wanna make the right decision.
Sure.
so-
We just tell
Even
Mike
if
that
it
it's
is, yeah.
time sensitive, we need him to come over here and take a look at it and give us the recommendation as quickly as he can.
Get an updated quote.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
Mhm.
It is state contract too, so that's a good thing too, so you get the bid there.
Okay,
Do we
take
have
a
to
vote.
vote on that thing?
Not the
Table.
motion to table.
I made the motion,
Do we
somebody
need a
Second it.
Bob seconded it, so
Yep.
we just
Okay,
need to
all
have a
those in
vote.
favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, about a week or two ago, I had also sent out a proposal from K&D Refrigeration and Maintenance. They put together a servicing, contract to, service all of our, stuff in the kitchen, would be the walk-in refrigerator and freezer, the stove, the oven, the kettles, the dishwasher machine, and even the steam tables and everything. And I was just looking to see if that was something that the board was interested in doing or not. The total for the year would be $2,300, which would be 2 biannual visits at $1,150 apiece to check everything out. Then part of that proposal was, if anything needed to be replaced or worked on, there would be 10% taken off of that bill by utilizing the service contract. So whether or not it's a cost savings to us, and basically what we do now is we just call K&D when we need service on any of the stuff there, and they come in and kind of fix it. But I didn't know with the fact that, everything getting up in age here, if we wanted them to, come in and look and service things just to make sure that things are, also we don't have a big bill. I don't know. It's something to kind of look at and whether or not we'd be interested. I can tell you that our walk-in refrigerator and freezer are the originals as far as I know. Everything in there, they've been worked on over the years as far as the cooling system and stuff, but I don't think there's been a total replacement of any of those over the years.
We have no problem with those, that equipment right now.
As it stands now, no. We've had some issues with our ovens that they were in, and they changed a couple of electrical boards on that, and they've been working, to this point. But
What kind of cost is that when they come in? I know it's dependent on
That probably could have been
parts.
about a $1,500-$1,600 bill or so at that time. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just taking a guesstimate there, but I think it was somewhere around that.
I think it's kind of rolling the dice right now, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's
I know,
nothing that I, obviously put into the budget because they just, shared this with me a couple weeks ago, so it's nothing that I looked ahead in there or anything. I just, brought it to the board to see if that's something they wanted to do or kind of wait for now and and maybe revisit it at a later date.
Yeah, maybe a recommendation to table it
They will.
for more discussion, I don't know, right now, I think it's working like it is, and the equipment's old, and I think we might be throwing some money away there, so.
So I sort of agree. What you just mentioned, Tim, even if we had this maintenance agreement and we had to call them in to do that, you know, there would have been a cost involved.
Right.
And, a lot of the things I've seen here seems pretty, like, we might even be able to do some of it.
Some of the
Not all of
bits,
it, but
right.
at least some of it.
When I looked at it, you know, there's a lot that we should be able to do.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd make a motion to table that.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it.
okay, Mike Turpek was up the other day along with Bob Stedman. I don't know if you wanna talk about this a little more,
Yeah,
Wayne.
we're gonna talk about it under the, water tank recommendations, and then you have the fire pump maintenance agreement too.
Okay. All right, so then, that's all I have under new business. But if we wanna talk about that under the old business with the fire pump maintenance.
Yeah, I'll start with what's on the top of the list there, the fire pump maintenance quote, you know. I don't know how many, it's been years since this, fire pump was really looked at, and the controls checked out to ensure that it's working properly when it is needed. I would recommend that at least have this done this year. I know Larry Senecola was up, there was an issue with it, and they got a quote, $1,400 or something to replace the batteries, and they did it for, Larry did
Larry
it
got
himself
them
for
for-
less than that. The
Yeah.
pump does another rerun now, but there were some issues when we had the, water issues up here with the control panel, but, and to my knowledge, the oil or nothing has been changed or properly serviced, so I would recommend we go with the fire pump maintenance quote.
So not the 2,400 euros.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You're making the motion, Lynn?
Yeah, I need a motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
And did you check this out?
That one we looked at.
You did? Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it.
Okay, we'll start on the fire tank recommendation, got a price quote to have them come in, clean the sediment out on the tank itself and do some minor other repairs and everything. Personally, I was hesitant of doing it at this point in time because I was hoping, because of the condition of the piping and that, you know, waiting until we got other, you know, quotes and final design on replacing a lot of the piping in that. Talking to Nico, the company that installed the original skid unit, that's up there, I'll call it a skid unit. And replacing the controllers for the pumps, the expansion tank, which is leaking, and the pipes above it are leaking. The new system would have all new controls. It'd also include a smaller expansion tank, which we're having issues, well, other than leaks, I don't think we're having any other issues with. The way things are going up there with the water testing and everything, I don't know if we should wait until, to have the pump or the tank clean. My reasoning for wanting to wait, and maybe we can, is that, why should we shut the system down twice? If we can get something moving in the next couple of months, you know, I'd recommend, you know, doing that no later than spring, I would hope.
Yeah.
Why shut it down twice and have issues here at the prison, bring tankers in and everything else to supply the system while it's down? You know, that's one half dozen the other, I guess. The other issue that we are dealing with is the number 2 well by the animal shelter. Well, what happened, the company, when they came in and they went and tested number 1 and not number 2, they thought the tanker was parked over top of it, which it wasn't, so I don't know who was here at the time when they came in to test the water. So, that didn't get done, they are being called back in. We can't design a filtration system or treatment system until we know exactly what the problem is. but, so I came up here on Friday with Mike Terapak, Bobby Stempa, and looking at alternatives to be able to get rid of the tanker, get it out of here. We did find an area in the piping and, inside on the second floor, go up through the special unit there, and there's a 2-inch line where we can do a hot tap on it and run a line. We'd have to call Fox Tapping to do that. Come in, put a hot tap on it, run down through the entrance or gate at work release between the sliding door and the exit door. It'd come down there, and then we'd have to have a contractor run the piping down into the ground, case it, take it down, dig down through the yard to the gate, and across over to the well to supply water. That would take care of the water issue at the animal shelter, because it is coming off the tank. It's the filtered or current water we're using now here at the facility. So that estimated cost was about $8,500. I was hoping to have the final quote today, and still hoping that we could have it for tomorrow's meeting to move on this, because we're paying probably about $8,000 a month now for that tanker to sit there. So if we can move on it, moving as soon as possible on it, if the board's okay with moving forward on that. And the cost of the hot tap, I'm not sure what that'd be. I don't recall offhand what it cost here to put the 3 or 4 inch hot tap when we had the other water issue in. But it'd still bring us down below the 3 quotes until, I'm just hoping we can go do it and get it done and get this tanker out of here, because the longer we sit here, the more we spend on having that water come in. So hopefully we'll get those quotes to them tomorrow and have Dan review them, and maybe we can approve them at the prison. So whether that's a prison court issue or more of a maintenance issue for the commissioners, but I'd definitely like to have the blessings. And the other thing we looked at, there is a water line in between number 2 well and the pump house. These are on the as-built site plans. So once we get this water hooked back up, we only have to run it to the wellhead there, where the well is. We can connect the pipe there to go to the animal shelter, and then have to reconnect it. According to Charlie Getz, I called him about it. He was here when the animal shelter was built. What they did was cut the pipe at that time in the wellhead and went right into the animal shelter, because they weren't using number 2. But getting to the critical point with the population, et cetera, more personnel on that, it's gonna be a backup, more than a backup system. You go up to the pump house, go through the filtration or purification system or treatment, and go directly into the tank. That way we'd have 2 wells. In fact, in the DEP report, when they built the place, I think that was supplied another 2 gallons a minute, sustainable flow, more than the number well, which we had before. So I strongly recommend we still proceed with the filtration system or the treatment system on the number 2 well for a backup. And I still strongly believe that we should have a backup water tank. Look at that in the future for when we do have to shut down, because eventually we'll have to shut that tank down, or should periodically, drain that tank, clean the sediment out, and do any necessary repairs. At least you would have a backup system in place. So that's my recommendation for the future, and what we should do with the current water system.
So I think, and Wayne and I talked about this Friday, and this morning, or yesterday morning a little bit, and I think our goal should be to get off this delivery of water that's costing us a ton of money. And this is a solution that under $10,000, but it'll get the line up there, and it'll serve the purpose. The tank, of course, is for a later date, and I don't disagree with you. I think at some point in time, we need to make it better, more efficient for when we do have to shut down, because we know what we went through in the past. But think we ought to run the line, and I know we don't have any figures in front of us, but I think as a prison board, we ought to, think about at least recommending to the commissioners that upon the approval of the solicitor's review of the proposal tomorrow, that it gets on that agenda so we can move in a timely manner. I'll make that a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it.
Okay, the final thing I had was just looking for the approval of the social media policy that was sent out to everybody.
Have a motion?
Motion to approve the policy.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it.
That was all I had in their old new business.
Did you have to deal with CCAP or is that okay? That taken care of?
Yeah, that's taken care of already.
Correspondence? Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Solicitor's report.
Nothing additional.
Okay, any further business to the prison board? If not, thank you for attending, meeting adjourned.